Now, many people consider John Watson to be the founder of behaviorism. And like other behaviorists, he believes that psychologists should study only the behaviors they can observe and measure. They are not interested in mental processes. Measure, 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 observe and measure. They are not interested in mental processes. While a person could describe his thoughts, no one else can see or hear them to verify the accuracy of his report. 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 But one thing you can observe is muscular habits. Muscular 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 habits. What Watson did was to observe muscular muscular habits because he viewed them as a manifestation of thinking. One kind of habits that he studied are a range of habits. Watson thought a range of habits, from larynx and nostrils related to the voice box. He thought those habits were an expression of thinking. He argued that for very young children, thinking is really talking about talking out loud to oneself because they talk out loud even if they are not trying to communicate with someone in particular. As the individual matures, that overt talking to oneself becomes covert talking to oneself, but the thinking still show up as a range or habit. One of the bits of evidence that supports this is that when people are trying to solve a problem, they typically have increased muscular activity in the throat region. That is, if you put electrode 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 on the throat and measure muscle potential. Potential muscle activity, you discover that when people are thinking, like if they are diligently trying to solve a problem, that there is muscular activity in the throat region. So Watson made the argument that problem solving or thinking can be defined as a set of behaviors, a set of responses. And in this case, the response and in this case, the response here reserved was the throat activity. That's what he means when he calls it a ranger habit. Now, as I'm thinking about what I'm going to be saying, my muscles in my throat are responding. So thinking can be measured as muscle activity. Muscle activity. Muscle activity. Now the motor theory, yes. Professor Blake, did he happen to look at people who sign, I mean deaf people? He did indeed. Um, and to jump ahead, what one finds in deaf individuals who use sign language when they are given programs of various kinds, they have muscular changes in their hands when they are trying to solve a problem. Solve a problem? Nah. Muscle changes in the hand, just like the muscular changes going on in the throat region for speaking individuals. So for Watson, thinking is identical with the activity of muscles. A related concept of thinking was developed by William James. It's called ideomotor action. Ideomotor action is activities that occurs without our noticing it, without our being aware of it. Without our being aware of it. I'll give you one simple example. If you think of locations, there tend to be eye movements that occurs with your thinking about the location. In particular, from where we are sitting, imagine that you are asked to think of our university library. Well, if you close your eyes and think of the library, and if you are sitting directly facing me, then according to this notion, your eyeball will move slightly to the left, to your left, cause the library is in that general direction. James and others said that this is an idea leading to a motor action, and that's why it's called ideomotor action. An idea is the motor activity. If you wish to impress your friends and